Hi everyone, we are accounting student from the University of Lampung in the International Accounting course in Group 2. We will present material entitled International Convergence of Financial Reporting from Chapter 3 in the book International Accounting by Timothy Dolpnik and Haftar Pereira, 3rd edition. There are 4 members in this group, myself, Mika Valentino, and there are Faras, Luzmelia, and Hamizan who are my partners. The following is a list of the content that we will discuss in this video, quite a lot, from the introduction to the conclusion, of course. Okay, let's get straight to the first part. First, we have to know that the diversity of accounting standard causes some major problem. For international company, they have to comply with different accounting rules in every country where they operate. After that, they have to convert the report to comply with the rules in their home country. And there may even be additional rules if the country is listed on an overseas stock exchange. This process is not only complicated but also very costly. On the other hand, investors also face difficulties. They often find it difficult to compare the performance of companies from different countries due to diverse accounting standards. This can ultimately hamper cross-border investment and limit the effectiveness of international capital market. Therefore, there is a great pressure from various parties, such as multinational company regulators, the G20, and the World Bank, to reduce the diversity. This effort is focused on harmonizing international accounting standards. Currently, these efforts are led by the International Accounting Standard Board, or IASB, which replaced the ISC in 2001. The IASB plays an important role in developing and promoting the use of international accounting standard called IFRS to support the convergence of accounting standards globally. These harmonization efforts aim to make financial statements more consistent, comparable, and supportive of the efficiency of international capital markets. We will look at the convergence and harmonization of international financial report as well as the challenge it faces. First, we need to understand that difference between harmonization and standardization. Harmonization means reducing alternative in accounting practice, while also allowing flexibility for each country, as long as the standards used do not conflict with each other. Standardization, on the other hand, means eliminating all alternatives and implementing a single uniform method. However, while harmonization allows for flexibility, it also brings challenges. For example, before 2005, companies in the European Union used different measurement methods. German company used historical costs for asset valuation, while Dutch company used replacement costs. This caused accounting figures to be incomparable even though they were under the same harmonization program. Convergence is a step further the harmonization. Convergence aims to adopt a single global standard such as IFRS, create consistent financial reporting around the world. However, challenge remains such a difference in audit quality, enforcement mechanism, culture and legal and socioeconomic system, which make it different to consistently implement convergence across countries. By understanding this concept, we can see the importance of global effort to create a more transparent and efficient financial reporting system. On this slide, we will discuss 3 main organizations that contribute to the harmonization of international accounting, namely IOSCO, IFAC, and the European Union. First, IOSCO, or the International Organization of Securities Commission, was established in 1974. This organization focused on the regulation of the global capital market. with the aim of improving market integrity and facilitating cross-border offering by multinational companies. IOSCO supports the use of financial accounting standards, such as IFRS, to facilitate financial reports that are acceptable in various countries. Second, IFAC, or the International Federation of Accountants, was established in 1977 to stretch the global accounting profession. One of its main initiatives was the launch of IFAD, in 1999, which aimed to improve the transparency of financial reporting, especially in developing countries. Third, the European Union. The European Union adopted the fourth directive in 1978 and the seventh directive in 1983, aimed at harmonizing financial reporting in its members' country. In 2005, the European Union required listed companies to use IAS or IFRS standard in their consolidated financial statement as a step toward global harmonization. However, this harmonization effort still faces challenge. One of them is the flexibility of the rules, which make it difficult to directly compare financial statements between countries. Although these differences have been reduced, full uniformity has not yet been achieved. Next, this slide explains the role of development of the ISC in the harmonization of international accounting. First, in the early stages, the ISC issued standards that accommodated various accounting practices from different countries. As a result, the comparison of financial statements between countries became difficult because there were too many options in accounting treatment. Then, through the Comparability Project, the ISC began revising standards to reduce the options available and improve the consistency of financial reports. For example, IAS 11, which initially had two methods of reporting contract, was eventually revising to only the US percentage of completion method under the current condition. Furthermore, the ISC collaborated with IOSCO to develop 30 core standards that facilitate cross-border financial recording. This step aims to support multinational companies in more uniform financial reporting. However, the Union States has a different reactions to international standards. They only accept IS if it meets three main criteria, namely that it must be comprehensive, of high quality, and consistent applied. Finally, to ensure full compliance with the standard, IS-1 was revised in 1977. After this revision, companies cannot claim that they follow IS unless they actually comply with all the stipulated requirements. In conclusion, the ISC play a major role in laying the foundation for more uniform international accounting standards, although challenges in implementation remain in various countries.
Okay, 5. Creation of the AISB on April 1st, 2001, the newly created International Accounting Standard Board (AISB) took over from the IASC as the creator of the International Accounting Standards, which were to be called International Financial Report Standard (IFRS). The process of restructuring the IASC into the IASB took over 5 years. The structure of the IASB. The IASB is organized under an independent foundation called the IFR Foundation. Components of the structure are as follows. 1. International Accounting Standard Board (IASB). The principal responsibilities of the IASB are 2. 1. Develop and issue international financial reporting standards and exposure draft. 2. Approve international developed by the International Financial Report International Committee. and the components of the structure are follow: 2. IFRS Foundation, 3. Monitoring Board, 4. IFRS Interpretation Committee, 5. IFRS Advisory Council, and 6. Working Groups, Expert Task Force for the individual agenda projects. Okay, next, 6. The IASB Framework. The framework for the preparation and presentation of financial statement was first approved by the EISG and was reaffirmed by the newly formed IASB. The objective of the framework is to establish and the concept underlying the preparation and presentation of IFRS-based financial statement. It deals with the following: 1. Objective of financial statement and underlying assumption. 2. Qualitative characteristics that affect the usefulness of financial statement. 3. Definition, recognition, and measurement of the financial statement elements. And 4. Concept of the capital and capital maintenance. Among other things, the purpose of the framework is to assist the IASB in developing future standards and revising existing standards. It also is intended to assist preparers of the financial statement in applying IFRS and in dealing with the topic that have not yet been addressed in the IFRS.
For the next topics is International Financial Reporting Standards. The first IFRS was issued in 2003, providing guidance on restarting financial statement when adopting IFRS. Several IASs have been revisited multiple times. For example, IAS 21 was issued in 1983, revised in 1993, updated in 2003, and amended in 2005 and 2007. Some IASs were withdrawn or replaced by March 2008. Only 13 IASs remained in force. As of August 2010, 41 IAS were issued by IASC and 9 IFRS by IASB. IFRS covers various accounting topics, including income tax, financial instruments, and consolidated financial statement. IASB is a private body that develops IFRS for public interest but lacks enforcement power. Adoption is voluntary. IFRS and IAS aim to standardize global financial reporting widely recognized across countries. And then, a principle-based approach to international financial reporting standards. IASB developing IFRS using a principle-based approach, focusing on general principles from the IASB framework for recognition, measurement, and reporting. The detailed rules may obscure principle and promote rule checking rather than faithful representation. Companies and auditors must exercise professional judgment and uphold public interest. This approach encourages professional judgment instead of strict rules, avoiding the break lines mentally found in rules-based system. The Institute of Chartered Accountants in Scotland, 2006, criticized rule-based accounting for adding complexity and hindering true and fair presentation. The Global Accounting Alliance and IOSCO support global accepted principle-based standards, promoting transparency and meeting capital market needs. For the next topics, presentation of financial statements, IAS 1. Number 1. Purpose of financial statement. There is to provide information for decision making. And then, number 2, components of financial statement. A set of financial statement must include a balance sheet, income statement, statement of cash flow, statement of change in equity, and notes, comprising a summary of significant accounting policy and other explanatory notes. Number 3, operating principle of fair presentation. Representation requires the faithful representation of the effects of transaction, other events and conditions in accordance with the definition and recognition criteria for assets, liability, income and expense set out in the framework. Number 4. Accounting policy. Management should select and apply accounting policy to be in compliance with all IASB standards and all applicable interpretation. Number 5. Basic principle and assumptions. IAS 1 reiterates the actual basic and going concern assumption and the consistency and comparative information principle found in the framework. The last, structure and content of financial statements provides guidance with respect to current or non-current distinctions, items to be presented on the face of financial statement, and items to be disclosed and the notes. For the next is first-time adoption of international financial reporting standards. IFRS 1 sets out the requirements for adopting IFRS and preparing a set of IFRS financial statement for the first time, as companies make the transition from their previous GAAP to IFRS. In preparing its opening IFRS balance sheet, IFRS 1 requires an entity to do the following. The first, recognize all assets and liability whose recognition is required by IFRS. Second, they recognize items previously recognized as assets or liability if IFRS do not permit such recognition. The third, reclassify items that it recognized under previous GAAP as one type of assets, liability, or component of equity, but are a different type of assets, liability, or component of equity under IFRS. For the last, apply IFRS in measuring all recognized assets and liabilities. And then argument for and against international convergency of financial reporting standards. For the first, argument for convergency. There is compatibility of financial statement worldwide is necessary for the globalization of capital markets, and then it would simplify the evaluation by multinational company of possible foreign takeover targets, and then convergency would reduce financial reporting costs for companies that seek to list their shares on foreign stock exchange. For the next, national difference in corporate reporting cause loss of investor confidence, which affects the availability and cost of capital. The next one set of universally accepted accounting standards would reduce the cost of preparing worldwide consolidated financial statement, and the auditing of this statement also would be simple. For the last, multinational company would find it easier to transfer accounting staff to other countries. For other sides is arguments against convergency. There is a significant difference between countries pose a major obstacle to convergency, and the nationalism. Some countries resist international bodies due to tradition, economic power, or fear of foreign influence. And then, a saving principle that satisfy all global parties is extremely challenging. And then, global capital markets have developed without uniform standards, leading some to view convergency as unnecessary. For the next, uniform standard may cause standards overloads, burdening companies with irrelevant requirements. And then environmental difference across countries suggests that different accounting standards may be appropriate. And then, global harmonization dilemma. The need for uniform standard conflicts with locally driven accounting difference. And the next topic is international convergency toward IFRS. In 2002, the 6 largest public accounting firms worldwide conducted a survey of national efforts in 54 countries to promote and achieve convergency with IFRS. The survey identified 3 different convergency strategies. Number 1, replacing national GAAP with IFRS. Number 2, adopting IFRS as national GAAP on a standard-by-standard basis. Number 3, eliminating difference between national GAAP and IFRS when possible and practicable. The major concerns is achieving IFRS convergency as expressed by respondents to the 2002 survey include the complicated nature of particular standard, especially those related to financial instrument and fair value accounting, is 51% of countries. And then, the tax-driven nature of the national accounting regimes using IFRS as the basis for taxation is seen as a problem for 47% in countries. And then disagreement with certain
the adoption of international financial reporting standard. There are a number of different ways in which a country might adopt IFRS. Number 1, all companies in the country use IFRS, replacing national GAAP. Number 2, IFRS is only used for preparing consolidated financial statement of the parent company, while the parent company individual financial statement use national GAAP. Number 3, companies listed on the stock exchange use IFRS, while those not listed use national GAAP. Number 4, foreign company listed on domestic stock exchange use IFRS, while domestic company use national GAAP. And number 5, domestic company listed on foreign stock exchange use the IFRS, while domestic company not listed on foreign stock exchange use national GAAP. IFRS in European Union. Starting in 2005, the European Union required a registered company to use IFRS in consolidated financial statement to enhance transparency and capital market. The European Union adopted IAS 39 with exception related to fair value and hedging accounting, which raises global concerns. Some European companies disclose the use of the European adopted IFRS, which does not cover the entire provision of IAS 39. Enforcement of IFRS varies in Europe due to legal and cultural difference between countries. Fair value measurement is difficult to implement in European due to the lack of a liquid market. IFRS in United States. Support for a principle-based approach. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act 2002 required the SEC to study the adoption of a principle-based accounting system in the US. Some US regulators support principle-based standards, such as those implemented by the IASB. The emphasize substance rather than form. There is an external push, such as from the European Commission, for the US SEC to recognize IFRS as part of the mutual recognition program between the US and the European Union. Continue the IFRS in United States. The Northwell Agreement. The FASB and EASB agreed to make financial reporting standard compatible and work together in developing a joint solution. FASB key initiative for conference with IFRS and US GAAP joint project, short-term conference project, IASB liaison, conference research, and FASB agenda evaluation. The four main principles of the FCAG to improve the effectiveness of the preparation of global standard. Effective financial reporting implementation, convergency of accounting standard, independence and accountability in the preparation of standard. Next, the SEC policy on IFRS. Remove reconciliation The SEC removed the reconciliation obligation for foreign company using IFRS. European experience. The introduction of IFRS in European 2005 did not disrupt the market of investor. IFRS option for the US. The SEC is considering giving a choice between IFRS or US GAAP for US company. Executive support. Many CEOs support the adoption of IFRS in the US. Complex transfers. Moving to IFRS requires major change in the US reporting system. SEC roadmap. The SEC considered IFRS integration in 2011. US President support. The US government support global standard in financial reform. Some concluding remarks. The USB should be wary of political influence that could influence decisions regarding accounting treatment and disclosure recruitment. Accounting issues are often politically sensitive because of their impact on the wealth of various groups. In addition, the convergence of standards does not always result in comparable financial statements due to difference in interpretation and comprehension level between countries that are influenced by cultural and other factors. Case study Jardine Matheson Group. The Jardine Matheson Group is a major Asia-based conglomerate with a wide range of leading business in engineering, transportation, property, retail, hospitality, and insurance. Some of its subsidiaries include Jardine Motors, Hong Kong Land, Dairy Farm, and Mandarin Oriental. The group focused on the sustainable growth with combining income-generating activity and investing in new business. The company is registered in Bermuda, with a primary listing in London and secondary listing in Singapore. Jardine Matheson provides management, service, and financial support to its subsidiaries. They use International Financial Reporting Standard or IFRS in their financial report.
Okay, that's all we can bring to the video this time. Thank you very much for the opportunity and your attention. See you soon.